Alright, Go Go Loser Rangers Season 2 Episode 11, the penultimate episode leading up to the finale that we'll be getting in next week's episode. Will they stick the landing in the finale? We have yet to find out. But before we get into this week's review, I just want to say big special thanks to everyone who tuned into last week's review. I don't know how, I don't know what happened, but the YouTube algorithm somehow pushed that video and 3,000 people tuned in to watch that video. I don't know why. My Go Go Loser Ranger videos never perform well, but that video performed specifically well for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why, but hey, we'll find out with this week's episode. Maybe something was in the algorithm that day and people just they found it by luck or something, and they heard some Australian talking about an anime that is Sentai and Power Rangers related. But anyway, guys, Go Go Loser Rangers Season 2 Episode 11. Like I said, the second to last episode of this season, and a lot went down in this one episode. And it does make me wonder how they're going to stick the landing with the finale, because a lot happened in this week's episode. Like, we had twists and turns and stuff like that, character moments, character reveals, and a lot was going down with this episode. So last week's episode ended with Yakushi, Angel's father, injecting himself with 2 needles, and he turned himself into Death Messiah, I believe their name is pronounced, but they turned himself into that. And this is just a broken mess of a monster because, you know, Angel's father is a big fanboy of Tokusatsu and Super Sentai and stuff like that. So he's just coming up with all these abilities while he's fighting the Dragon Keepers. And I believe that he sort of had a headcanon for these abilities because he was like, oh, he could have done that in the show. He could have done this in the show. They probably could have done that in the show, but they didn't do this in the show. So he's coming up with all these weird abilities that make him pretty broken from what I see. But there's a bunch of other stuff going on in this episode. One of the things I want to touch upon is Suzukiri. Suzukiri, we get the big reveal with her in this episode. She's still alive. Her life is too important for Red to kill. Red doesn't want to kill her just yet, because we find out that she's the Dragon Priestess and the last of her clan. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that's going to go into, but it seems important if she's some kind of Dragon Priestess, you know, Dragon Keepers, Dragon Priestess. We've had these flashbacks of Suzukiri talking to this mysterious person, so we have no idea what's going on with her. But also the clones, she set them free. Apparently they're fragile, so they could break, so I don't know if they're going to die or not. But the Suzukiri stuff, I'm definitely looking forward to see where that's going to go in Season 3 when we get around to it. So the big thing with this week's episode is you had the reveal that Angel is the daughter of a monster, and we found out that Yakushi and Angel's mother, they got together, they boned, and I guess you find out that Angel's part monster as well. And the whole reason why she's part monster, because, you know, the two fell in love, and Angel's mother was one of the more peaceful monsters of the boss executives, and the other boss executives didn't vibe with that, and they were like, no, we got to kill her. So they ended up killing her, from what I gathered, or from what I could guess. Something happened to her. But Angel's father wanted to bring peace amongst the world, you know, equality for monsters. But because of everything going down in the world and how monsters are treated in the Go Go Loser Ranger world, I guess they're going to sort of take peace by force by wiping out humanity and stuff like that. So there's that going on. Now, the big thing with this week's episode is that Izumi, the little blue keeper girl, she finally confronts D in this week's episode because she believes that D is the one that killed Blue Keeper. But that wasn't the case because, you know, it was Petrola that killed Blue Keeper in the end as well. But because the guy with the afro says that when he woke up he saw a keeper with it, like he saw a duster with a D on their shoulder, she pins it to being him. So she's out for revenge, and she just pins D down, pause, and starts stabbing him over and over again out of revenge, like she's upset. And you have this scene where Angel is trying to intervene with everything going on, but her Divine Tool 2.0 falls out of her fingers or falls out of her hands, and out of revenge, Izumi ends up picking it up and she swallows the divine tool and she begins to mutate. And basically what she ends up turning into is she ends up turning into Glenn Quagmire from Family Guy when he had that big arm from like jacking off all the time. That's what she turns into. That is literally what she turns into in this episode. She turns into Quagmire from that one Family Guy episode where he's got the jacked arm from jerking off too much, and that's what she basically has. She's got one little arm, one jacked arm that's all gross and veiny and pulsy and stuff like that. But she manages to grab D, and because she's got the power of a divine tool in that one arm, she manages to break off his leg, and now his leg won't regenerate because, it got freaking broken off. So that's going to be something moving forward, what's going to happen with D moving forward in the end. But yeah, I do wonder what's going to happen with her in the end because, she's got that big mutated arm. I guess the side effects will wear off, but now she had the effects of the monster in her as well. So we'll see what's going to happen to her because, she went for a revenge route. Who knows what's going to happen to her as well. But we get to see Angel transform as well in this episode, and she literally transforms into an angel. She has this halo attack that she does. She grows angel wings as well. That was pretty cool in this episode, and we get to see the extent of her power when she turns into her hybrid monster human form, which was really cool to see. And one of the things we also have going on in this episode is we get to see the other Rangers sort of trying to evacuate people off the bridge in the end. But while that's all going on, you've got the Dragon Keepers trying to fight Death Messiah or Death Makia, however you want to pronounce it, and they're getting bodied by this guy. Also, Pink is here as well. I guess she survived somehow. So Pink is here too. She's fighting as well. But all the other Rangers are getting bodied by this guy, and like I said, I'm waiting for the Megazord to show up because it's in the opening. I want to see the Megazord. You teased it in the opening, you can't not show it, and I guess we don't know if we are going to see it or not. But you have this one crazy scene where everyone's trying to evacuate from the bridge and it just gets blown up to smithereens. Like, a lot of people probably got killed in that giant explosion when the bridge got knocked down. But Death Messiah shows up and he says, I'm going to start exterminating humans now because I don't have a need for most of you. So some of you will live, some of you will die. And that's how it ends on that scene. Now, the Dragon Keepers do show up, so I get the feeling they're going to have one final showdown with Death Messiah. We'll see where that's going to go in the end. But the big thing with this week's episode is that when D is surviving, he runs into Hisui, Kaden. And Kaden knew the whole time that it was D that saved her because there was that one scene from like a couple of weeks ago at the end of the school arc where D did Hibiki, when he was D posing as Hibiki, did ask her, hey, do you remember anything where you were knocked out? And you have this scene where she pauses and she's like, no, I don't. But she remembers everything. She admires Dee's admiration, even though she hates monsters, she doesn't care for them. But she admires Dee's goals and sort of motivation. So it looks like they're going to team up together and they're going to be an unlikely duo, which is cool to see because I do like Dee and I do like Kaden or Hisui teaming up because I feel like they're a really cool duo when they fight together. So we'll see what's going to go on with them. So I'm really looking forward to that. But overall, Go Go Loser Ranger Season 2, Episode 11. This was the big plot episode with everything going on, and we'll see how they stick the landing with Season 2. I get the feeling with how this season's going to end, it's probably going to end on a weird cliffhanger, and I'm going to have to read the manga, which I think I'm already going to do that. I'm going to read the start of this arc in the manga, because I think it's probably out in volume form, and I'm just going to pick up where those ones left off on. I'll brush over the school arc and stuff like that, but I want to pick up on this sort of Invader Right story arc and read that in the manga because I feel like the pacing in this story arc kind of might have suffered with what's going on with everything happening. But we'll see if we're going to get a Season 3 next year, which I feel like we probably will get a Season 3 next year. We'll have to wait and see. Fingers crossed, so hopefully this show doesn't get cancelled. But Go Go Loser Ranger, this is still a really fun show. I'm really enjoying it, and I can't wait to see where it's going to go next overall. We'll see what happens. I can't wait to see how they're going to end the story arc or end this season, because I get the feeling that this story arc is far from done and it's going to end on a weird cliffhanger. But what did you guys think of this week's episode of Go Go Loser Ranger? Do you think they'll stick the landing in next week's finale? Do you think they'll stick the landing, or do you think they won't stick the landing? I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. And with that said, I guess I'll catch you guys later. Peace out, take care, bye.